All right. So yeah, so specifically with this, what we want to do with this webinar is not only tell you what's been going on behind the scenes, but specifically within the product, what we've been doing within the product behind the scenes to prepare for this coming up summer, and even more specifically for hosts. We're doing a lot of things for swimmers, different things on that end for booking conversions and all that, but specifically, what are we doing on the host side to make the Swimply platform 1% better every day and have the best summer yet? So let's get into it. So just a little housekeeping to start. This is a recorded session, as you guys all heard. So kindly just mute your line so we don't get any unnecessary feedback. And please leverage the chat box feature. Just to say hi, where you're from, how long you've been hosting. I'd love to see that. Just, say hello. And also, if you have any questions throughout the presentation, shoot them in the chat box. If Ariana will be manning the chat box, and if she can, she will answer that question on the spot. Or if not, we will go through it at the end in the open Q&A session. At the end, we'll first go through all the unanswered questions from the chat. So make sure you're leveraging the chat box, and let's get into it. So just super quickly about myself, if some of you may not have had the pleasure of meeting, my name is James or Iona Meisner. I am officially, my title is the head of pools at Swimply. So I kind of put a lot of effort into the host side and the pool side and the supply side of the platform. And most importantly, for me, I am a 2+ years Swimply host out of Long Island, New York. So what's up, anyone from Long Island? I've been a host there for 2+ years now. And that's kind of where I get to see, I love being a Swimply host in addition to working at Swimply, because I get to see some of the day-to-day struggles and successes of what it means to be a Swimply host. So I love that I'm able to see both sides of that. So what are we going to talk about today? So let's just go through a little bit what is on the menu, and we will go in much further detail to all of these things. So first off, we're going to talk about the all new hosting tab. The hosting tab is where we at Swimply want you guys to look at your pool and have the tools and the data and transparency you need to treat your pool like a small business, because really that's what it is. We are all running small businesses here, so that we want to give you all the tools that you need to run your pool like a small business. And that being said, there's really two main parts of what you need when running a business and for success in your pool. First off, so the hosting tab is split up into two sections. We have the performance section of the host tab, where again we'll get a lot more in detail, but where you'll see how your pool is doing, what's doing well, what's maybe not performing as well, and most importantly, how you can improve, what easy steps you can take to make sure that your pool and business is performing at its peak. And then the other side of that, of running a business and what the hosting tab is the marketing side, because obviously the other part of running a business is getting as many eyes as possible, as many people as possible, as many swimmers as possible in front of your pool and into your pool, which obviously then turns into revenue for your business and your pool. So we have the performance section, which talks about how your pool is doing and how you can improve, and the marketing section, which gives you super easy tips on how you can get your pool in front of more eyes of swimmers. That's the first thing we'll go through. Then we will talk about tiered pricing. Tiered pricing is a whole new way to price pools. The main goals there are to get more transparency and higher conversions for our booking. So we'll talk more about that. Then we have the calendar 2.0. This is, not something new. We've always had a calendar, as I'm sure you guys know, but we did some major improvements to the calendar. And I think this is where a lot of the kind of feedback from you guys of features that you wanted, we were able to fit a lot of them into the calendar. So I'm super excited to go through those improvements on the calendar 2.0. And finally, and very dear to me, is the ProHost program, which we are hopefully going to launch soon. The ProHost program is what I like to say, a program that's for hosts by hosts, because I'm currently working with, I'm sure some of you guys are on the call, with a lot of hosts on creating this program, building this program, and really launching this program. It's going to be a program that's totally run by hosts, for hosts, and we at Swimply are kind of trying to just be the facilitators around this program. So super excited about that, and we will talk about all this right now. So let's get into the first thing, which is going to be the all new hosting tab. And again, the idea here is a whole new way to manage your business. We really, really, really want you guys to think of your pool as a small business. And again, have all those tools necessary to treat your pool like a small business, see the data, what's working, what's not working, and know how you can improve. Instead of it just being, okay, I'm going to wake up every morning and hope I get bookings, I'm going to be able to see what I can do, what steps I can take to get more bookings from the hosting tab. And then, whether it's performance and then marketing, that's the idea. So again, like we spoke about, there are going to be two sections of the hosting tab. There will be the performance section, which again will tell you how your pool is doing, what it's doing well, what it's doing not as well, and very clearly how you can make those changes and fix those things that aren't performing as well to achieve peak performance. And then furthermore, on top of that is, okay, now I've achieved peak performance. What can I do to market myself, to market my pool and get my pool in front of more eyes? I want to do it. I have no idea how to start. Many of you guys, like myself, I don't know much about marketing. So we broke down super easy, quick steps that you can take, that anyone can take, that I can take to get more swimmers into your pool. So let's dive right in. And right here, we'll go through these screenshots. These are screenshots of what the actual app will look like. So it's not released yet. It is going to be released before next summer, so sometime in the next month or two. But let's just go through. This is what the designs are. This is what the app will look like. So we'll go through these screenshots here. So right now we're in the performance section of the hosting tab. So let's kind of go from top down. The two screenshots are kind of, if you scroll, you would go to the next screenshot. So just kind of for just to give you guys a little bit of overview. So right at the top, we have our overview, and this can be sorted for, in this case, for this screenshot, is sorted for all time, but you can sort it for last 30 days, year to date, last 7 days, and you can see this overall overview, which gives you a really high level look at how your pool is doing. And this tells you how many views your pool got, how many people looked at your pool, and how many bookings you got. So then you can easily see, okay, what's my rough conversion rate of views to bookings? How am I doing there? And most importantly, how much you have earned. And as you can see, this earnings is clickable. So we'll talk a little bit more about the all new earnings dashboard as well, which is built into this hosting tab. That's kind of a high level overview, gives you a snapshot. You can go in at any time and see either all time, last 30 days, last 7 days, year to date, how I'm doing on a super high level. Then right underneath there, you'll have this little blue tab, which seems small and maybe not so important, but it is super, super important in regards to your listing success and performance. So it's going to tell you either you're doing great, like in this case, or it will be a yellow bar, which says you're doing okay, or red, and it'll say you're doing poorly. And what this means is where you are ranking in the search results. Super important, super integral to any success. And as we know, the algorithm has been, confusing. What does it mean? How do I get higher in the algorithm? Why are certain pools ranked higher than others? And the algorithm will always, be somewhat confusing as to what, because it takes in a ton of data points. But most importantly, what it takes into account is engagement in your listing and conversion on your listing. And this, with some of those scores that you see on the next screenshot, will tell you where you're doing well, where maybe you're not doing well, and how you can make sure you're always doing great when it comes to your listing success. So this will tell you how you're doing in terms of your search ranking. And then right underneath there, it will tell you practical ways tailored specifically to your listing. So here, these tips will be different for you as maybe your neighbor, because it will be depending on what your settings are and our data, what we know is working for other pools in your area. So for example, if other pools are, just to be the most simple, instant book, and your pool is not, the tip may be turn on instant booking to higher your approval rating and your conversion rating to then raise yourself in the search algorithm. Or maybe it's your photos are not ranked super well in comparison to your neighbors. So get better photos, try to get professional photography. Maybe that's something you can do. So those tips will be here of exactly if it's if you're doing great, what to do to keep it up, or if maybe you're not doing as well, steps you can take to raise your conversion and engagement to then go higher in that search result. So super important part right here. You have the how you're doing and what you can do, what actions you can take today to make yourself get higher in that search result. Moving on to the next screen, where it's if you kind of just scroll, that's where you will come across your performance scores. So also, these scores will all go into what your engagement is, what your conversion rate is, and in the end of the day, what your search results ranking is. So in the hosting, it's split into two, your performance scores, hosting and listing. So in the hosting side, it has to do with you as a host. So it has to do with your response time. How long is it taking for you to respond to swimmers? Your cancellation rate. How often are you canceling on swimmers? And your approval rating. So all these things, again, are super important for getting that conversion rate up, which is going to be a key player in your search results ranking. So again, if you cancel on people, that's hurting your conversion. If your approval rating is high, that's helping your conversion. So, if you're instant book, that may be a tip to right away raise your approval rating to 100%. If you're instant book, your approval rating will automatically be 100% minus the cancellations, but it will be pretty high. So you want to make sure that all these are going to be blue. And then okay, I'm set up in my hosting side, and that's going to be good for my search algorithm. Where I'm going to be in the search algorithm. Then let's move on to the listing scores, where again, it's split into three. We have the completed percent of your listing. How complete is your listing? Most of you guys, I'm sure, are almost complete, but it also has to do with, verified, all those things. And then these next two are super, super important for the engagement, your photo score and your pricing score. So based on our data, we know and we see that pools with great photos and great pricing are the ones that get the highest engagement and conversion. So here is us telling you, hey, compared to other pools in your area, your pool is priced a bit high. So we believe that's probably hurting your conversion rating and your engagement rate, and therefore hurting your search ranking success. So, again, just following these tips here, making sure they're all blue and getting that engagement, conversion, and then there's, distance and other small things that factor into play in the search algorithm will ensure success when it comes to your listing. And then just kind of moving a little bit lower, we have the reviews. So why I love this edition is because until now, in order to see your reviews, you had to kind of log in as a swimmer, find your pool, scroll down, and then we'd see, oh, did my last swimmer leave a review? And it was kind of like you didn't really know. And you had to, keep it top of mind. It was hard to keep it top of mind when reviews are so important. So this is a super easy way. You will see all your most recent reviews right here in your hosting tab. So you'll see your most recent swimmer. Did they leave a review? Did they not leave a review? What was the stars? And again, just keeping it super top of mind how important reviews are, to remind you to ask for reviews, to make sure you're asking swimmers, you're telling them, hey, would love if you leave a review, and obviously making sure that those reviews are 5-star. And if you do get a 4-star, like in this case, try to get that feedback and change it for next time, because reviews are super, super important. So that is the hosting tab. So as promised, let's just go in here to the earnings dashboard within the hosting tab. So as you can see in the overview, you have that earnings. So if you click on that earnings, you will open up what we're calling the earnings dashboard. And again, the earnings dashboard is split into two sections. You have your insight section and your transaction section. So let's go through the insight section. It's a screenshot on the left. The first thing you see is a overall earnings. In this case, it's week over week, but you can set it to month over month, quarter over quarter. And I think you can even set it to any, specific date if you want to do from June to September to see your summer. And then you can see, okay, are my earnings trending up? Are my earnings trending down? Are they flat? Again, just to really look at it like a business and to be able to see this, okay, my earnings are they're trending down. Okay, what can I change in order to get that back up? So again, going back to performance, seeing what you can maybe improve, maybe running promotions, doing a little bit of marketing to get that boost. So it just kind of gives you that overview to see how you're doing, with a graph of like, are you trending in the right direction? Then underneath that, you'll get your summary of earnings. This is really cool because it gives you also, again, just a lot of data that as a business owner you want to know, just so you can make informed business decisions. So you'll see your earnings per booking, and you'll get, your average. On average, how much am I earning per booking? You have small bookings, big bookings. I want to know what I'm earning. So, in this case, $425 I'm earning per booking on average. So I know if I want to make a decision, okay, do I want to spend $50 of marketing and that, maybe it'll only get me one booking? I know for this that, yeah, it's worth it because I'm getting $425. So I'll still be getting profit of $375 per booking if I spend X amount of dollars. So this lets you make these informed business decisions with this summary. You also see earnings per hour, how much you're earning per hour, which is really cool. Maybe if you have expenses and you're paying someone per hour, or, heating expenses, it breaks it down for you there. And you also see, which is really cool, your earnings per guest. How much is each person that you're allowing into your yard earning you on average? So that is kind of the summary breakdown. And then underneath, really cool, you have your amenities and how much each amenity earned you. So maybe you have a hot tub that you charge extra for, and that will show you how much that has earned you. Or maybe you have a fire pit where you have expenses with a fire pit. You're changing the gas, you have to buy a new tank, it costs you $40, but like this, you can see, oh, my fire pit has actually, not only has it brought me more swimmers to my pool, which, is earning me on average $425, but I see just from my fire pit, I've earned $40. So I'm breaking even there. That's fine. So I'm not losing money, and it's bringing in more swimmers. Or maybe I'm even making money on this and I should, double down on this amenity. Maybe it's towels or, whatever. So that gives you really cool insights into your earnings on the insights section of the earnings dashboard. And then just on the flip side, we have the transaction side. So this is, I guess a lot more quote unquote boring, but also just as necessary for any business owner to be doing accounting and all that. So it gives you a super detailed breakdown of each booking. You can, sort by date, any specific dates, or the whole year. And it'll tell you the booking ID, how much it was, the date that it hit your Stripe account. So, we don't know exactly when it hits your bank, but it's usually, 2 days after it hits your Stripe account. So you'll have that, you'll know, depending on like weekends and stuff, the ID, all that information that you need in order to do all your accounting on that end. So that is the earnings dashboard, which is inside the performance section of the hosting tab. So yeah, that is the performance side of the hosting tab. Again, just to make a super quick recap, the hosting tab, the idea is for you to look at your pool and treat your pool like a business, and the performance tab is for you to see, okay, how am I doing? Where am I doing really well? Where am I doing not so well? And how can I improve? That is the idea of the performance section of the hosting tab. And now let's kind of switch gears to the marketing section of the hosting tab. So again, we have screenshots here of what this will look like. And again, the idea here is to give you guys and myself as hosts tools to do marketing when maybe, I don't know anything about marketing. How do I get my pool? I want more swimmers. Everything's good. I have great photos, great pricing. I'm trending up, but I just want more. I want more swimmers. How do I do that? I may not know. So from top to bottom, let's go through some of these tips. So right at the top is in my opinion, the best and easiest way to do any marketing for your pool. When it comes to marketing, we talk a lot about target audience. Who's your target audience? If you own a pet store, your target audience is people with pets, obviously. If you own, a clothing store, then it's like, hey, who are you selling to? Kids, adults, women, men, so find your target audience is super important when it comes to marketing. The awesome thing about this is, who's your target audience when it comes to pools? Maybe you could say, oh, I have families. So families are my target audience, people without pools. Maybe they live in apartment buildings. Maybe it's people that live in the city where it's less likely to have a pool. You can kind of find your target audience, but the awesome thing about the fans feature, and I'm sure a lot of you guys know what the fans feature is, and if not, I'll give a super quick recap, is that it gives you the ultimate target audience, because the fans feature allows you to message your pool fans. And if you guys haven't yet tried this feature, this actually exists in the app already. So I highly suggest trying it out, checking it out. The fans feature breaks down your pool fans into 3 groups: your guest leads, who are people who favorited your pool. So they looked at your pool, they liked it, but they didn't end up booking your pool. Your one-time guests, who swam at your pool one time, and your repeat guests, people who have swam at your pool multiple times. So again, these are your ultimate target audience. It's either people that came to your pool or people that wanted to book your pool and just didn't end up booking. So the fans feature gives you the ability to send them a message, include a promo code, like, hey, I'm opening for 2023, book in the next 24 hours, and use this promo code, get 25% off, and I'll throw in a free hot tub. Maybe you do something like that. So it's the best way to get it. And the other awesome benefit, not only does it give you the great target audience, you don't even have to leave the app to do marketing. With a lot of marketing and everything that we'll talk about moving forward, maybe it's on social, maybe it's out in the street in a local coffee shop. We've seen hosts get super creative with this. The awesome part about this, if you don't want to do anything and you just want to be in your app, you don't have to leave your app. You can do it straight from your app, sends it all out. It is so easy and super effective. So that's kind of the first tip right at the top. Then as you go down, it talks about the referral page. So the referral page is another awesome way to get swimmers into your pool. I like to think of the referral page as something to use in conjunction with a lot of these following tips. If you're going to be posting on Facebook, you want to include your referral link, because what's a better incentive for someone to book than hey, here's $25 off your booking. So if my pool is, $50 an hour, they're already getting 50% off. And that's not coming out of us as hosts. That actually comes out from Swimply. They'll get credited from Swimply. So we get the full amount of our pool booking and they get 25% off. So again, just a super good incentive to share with hosts. And whether you're putting that referral link out to friends and family, you're posting on Facebook, different Facebook group, on Instagram, whatever that may be, I love this referral page in conjunction with some of these other tips. So as we keep going down the page, this is where, this may look similar to the performance tips, but this is where you'll have marketing tips. So down here is where you'll have super easy tips and steps to take that you can do today to get in front of many swimmers. And some of these tips may be post in local Facebook groups. And it would be very simple. We're working on exactly what those call to actions will be, but it can open up Facebook, search, mom, local, Los Angeles moms, and I can post about my pool in there, include my referral link. Maybe it's post on Instagram, create an Instagram account. We've seen tons of hosts create Instagram accounts and start getting awesome followings. Obviously the Orange Pool, if any of you guys are familiar with that, has been doing such a great job at that. So those tips will be down below. And then kind of moving on to the next screenshot, which again is just if you keep scrolling down the page, this is where you'll have some more, longer form articles and videos of, maybe I want to learn and understand, what does it mean to create a brand for my pool? What does it mean to create a brand? And along with that, create an Instagram account, create a TikTok account. Maybe it's, start a website, post on Google Plays. These are more, long form articles, videos where you can learn. Because again, we may not know much about marketing. We're just, we have a pool and we're starting this venture into owning a small business. Most of us don't own, maybe some of us do, and we're already experts at all this, but most people, have never owned a small business before, myself included. And this kind of gives you some really good tips where you can learn and educate yourself about what it means to build a brand, do marketing, and all that stuff. So that's where all these articles and videos will live. And the cool part about these two places, they will actually be kind of living and breathing. So as we come up with new ways for you guys to market throughout the summer, those will appear here, and you can always keep coming here and learning from that. And then underneath that, we have our Swimply shop where you'll be able to get, all the fun stuff for your pool, but also tools to market. Something people don't always take into account is marketing to people that come to their pool, but maybe weren't the ones that booked the pool. So getting signs that will let people know, hey, you can do this also. You got invited here to this awesome party. You can do this too. You can make a party here too and rent it out on Swimply. So, that's, something you may not have realized. So again, there will be an article about that, and you can buy all those things in the Swimply shop. So that is the marketing section of the hosting tab. So again, just to recap super quickly, hosting tab, the idea is to treat your pool like a small business and have the tools and the data that any small business owner would love, want, and need for performance and for marketing. So let's move on to the next section, tiered pricing. Also, just want to remind everyone, if you do have questions, I see there are chats going on, but feel free to put them in the chat box and we will either get to them now or circle back during the question answer. So let's move on to tiered pricing. Tiered pricing, the idea is to taking the headache and confusion out of pricing your pool. So there's three main goals that we had around switching around the pricing, because obviously it was a big decision. It's a big part of listing your pool is pricing and how you price. So these are the three main goals that we want over here. We want more clarity around price. If you ask me as a host, and I'm sure you can all ask yourself this question right now, how much would it cost for 13 people to rent your pool for 4 hours? And for me as a host, I'm like, okay, I charge $60 an hour, an extra $10 per person per hour. So it's 4 hours, 8 extra people, that's $80 an hour. So it kind of gets complicated. And more often than not, if you all do the math, you'll be surprised at what the final price is. It surprised me, and it surprised most hosts, and it surprises swimmers about how high it can actually get. And that results in bad conversions for swimmers. And I've experienced this, and I'm sure you guys have experienced this, and we've seen it just from our data, is that swimmers come and they really want to book. These are the ultimate, customer. And then they put in their details and, the price is way higher than even you as a host would realize. And then they drop off the funnel. So we want more clarity around the price, better conversion of swimmers, and easier to set the price that you want. Right now, if I'm thinking, okay, for a group of X size, how much do I want to earn? It's pretty hard to set that price. And I have to start doing the math, adding the amount of people. Okay, let me charge this, but I want to do this. And it gets kind of complicated. So with these three goals in mind, we introduced tiered pricing. So tiered pricing, to set it up, is easy as 1, 2, 3. The 3 steps to set it up are: you would start off by setting a maximum amount of guests that your pool allows. In this case, it's 30 guests. Maybe at your pool, maximum, no amount of money in the world, I cannot fit more than 20 people, say. That just doesn't fit in my yard, and no amount of money in the world would I want that, because my neighbors are going to be upset, stuff are going to get ruined, I just can't fit it. So you would first start by setting the amount of guests. Then you would click next, and Swimply will automatically generate tiers and suggested prices for those tiers. So the tiers are, as you can see, 1 to 5 guests, 6 to 10 guests, 11 to 20 guests, 21 to 30 guests, etc. down the line. So, and then it gives you suggested prices and your earning potential. Based on these prices and our data about how often these prices get booked with what size of groups, it gives you your earning potential, your estimation. And then you can go in and adjust each tier to the desired price you want. In this case, this person put their base rate up to 10 guests. But, if you want to, okay, 1 to 5, I want to charge 50. 6 to 10, I actually, I want to charge 80. That for me is where I'm comfortable for that price. And 11 to 20, I actually want, $110 per guest. So again, I can very easily see and decide how much I want to earn for each size group. Swimmers can see this as well. Creates that clarity, that ease, and that higher conversion rates when it comes to people booking your pool. One small thing to note on this is tiered pricing will be mandatory for new hosts. If you sign up a new pool, you will have to go through the new tier pricing flow. However, for, I assume, most of you guys, if not all of you guys, it actually will be optional. It's highly recommended. And, we're going to start getting the data of like what the conversion rate difference is from tiered pricing versus not tiered pricing. Highly recommended, but optional for existing hosts to start. So let us move on to calendar 2.0. Again, the calendar part is where I think we took a lot of the feedback from you guys as hosts and we're able to fit it into the calendar. That's why I'm super excited about the updates here. So the calendar will be a seamless way to manage your calendar that actually works. There were, the calendar, the old calendar was good. There were a lot of kind of bugs. It wasn't that easy to use. It wasn't that useful overall. So we really wanted to revamp the calendar, make it super useful, give you guys the ability to actually manage things with the calendar, not just look at the calendar. And that was the idea with the new calendar. So the 3 main upgrades that we made to the calendar are: number 1, you can now manage 1 or multiple dates at a time. It used to be when you open your calendar, if you wanted to block out a date or block hours in a date, you had to do it 1 date at a time. Now you can select multiple dates, 1, 5, 10, 40 dates, and manage those all together at once. Number 2, and this was a much asked for request, is change the availability for dates. And what does that mean? Maybe you want to be an instant book pool because you want your conversion rate to be high. You know, you follow the tip and you're like, hey, I want to be an instant book pool. I want my conversion rate to be high. I want to be high in search results. However, you know, maybe on Saturdays or maybe on holidays, I actually want to be a request pool because I want to make sure that you know, on July 4th, there's not going to be one person booking my pool for the whole day and I'm not earning that much. You know, on a Tuesday, I would love that booking, but on July 4th, not as much. I want to, you know, have that bigger group and get that bigger income. So on July 4th, I want to be a request pool, or vice versa. So this gives you the ability to actually change your availability, which was you were unable to do at all. So now you can do it, and you can do it all from the calendar, which is awesome. And then number 3, and this might have been the biggest feature request, and I'm sure all you guys will be like, finally, you can set special prices for specific dates. So again, thinking back to the holiday example, as we all know, last summer, July 4th, Labor Day, Memorial Day, all came out on Mondays. And for a lot of hosts like myself, we had, you know, our weekday discount on. So, you know, not only are we not charging weekend rates, we're charging discounted rates on, you know, the most, you know, requested date of the year. July 4th is the day to make a pool party, you know, and we're, you know, offering cheaper rates. So that was, you know, we had workarounds, have amenities, but it was never perfect. And I myself as a host, I came into like, you know, people didn't select it. I didn't want to be like, hey, you have to select it. And it wasn't great. So with this, you can now set special prices for specific dates. And again, do it all through the calendar. So let's get into it of what the new calendar will look like. So here, as the other cases, we have the unreleased screenshots of what the calendar will look like. So as you can see, you have your overview of the calendar, and it will tell you, you know, which dates you have a booking, which dates you're blocked, you know, your different pricing and, you know, boost or discount that you have set. And you can go in and tap a date, a single date or multiple dates, and you can go ahead and click manage those dates, which will then bring you to the manage dates overview page, where you will see your reservations that you have on those dates that are specified. And you will also be able to manage those 2 things we talked about, your availability and your price. You'll be able to click into both of these and manage those settings. So let's get into that. If you click on the top one, which was managing your availability, you can then choose, as you can see, your status. So in this case, it's mixed availability. Maybe this host is blocked on one day and request on another, or maybe request on one day and instant on another, or it will tell you, hey, you are instant for both these days. And you can select that dropdown, choose either instant, request, or blocked, and it will then set that for the selected date or dates that you chose. So again, just in practice, where this would be, if I'm an instant book pool, I want to select every Saturday, or I just want to select holidays, and I can select all those, click manage, go to status, and put myself on request for those specific days. Or what you can do is also block hours for all those days. So maybe every Tuesday, I want to block from 2 to 6 p.m. Like in this example, that's the time I use the pool with my kids. So you can then select all the Tuesdays or whatever days you want and block hours, and it will block those hours on all those dates. So that is where you can manage your availability. And moving on to managing your price. So again, as you will click, you will pull up your manage pricing page, where you will see your current price. And this one's separated in the tier pricing. And you will see your current bookings you have on those days. And you can, what we're calling, set a discount or a boost for the selected dates. So you can, you know, choose the dates you want. Again, going back to our holiday example, I choose all my holidays that are maybe on a Monday, and it'll tell me what I'm currently charging. And then I can set a discount or boost 10, 20, 30, 40% on top of that rate, and vice versa. Maybe I want to take specific days that I'm not seeing as many bookings and I want to set a discount. You can do that as well from here. And then you click apply discount or apply boost, and it would apply. One thing to note here is that this feature will only be available for hosts who have set up tiered pricing. So when tiered pricing does go out, make sure you go ahead and set that up in order to take advantage of this feature. Moving on to our last topic, which again is very dear to me, the Swimply ProHost program. So this is coming in March 2023. And again, I'm spending a lot of time on this, working with a lot of you guys that are probably, hopefully on this call, building this together, finding hosts to do this, and, really building this out together. So again, like I said, this is a program for hosts by hosts. And the reason I say that is because we really are doing this together. The hosts are 90% of the program. And, all the hosts that I'm talking to about this know this, like, it's really, they are the ones carrying this program on the back. We just want to be as much as possible facilitators of this program. So the two main goals with the ProHost program, and we'll get a little bit more into what exactly it is, are number one, giving you the ability to connect to a local ProHost for advice and tips. Let's say I am a host in Austin, for example, and maybe I'm a new host. Maybe I'm not new. Maybe I'm struggling to get bookings. Maybe I'm not struggling. Maybe I just want tips. I can connect to a local host to get advice and tips from. Yeah, sure. You can join a webinar. You can go to the Host Resource Center. You can reach out to Swimply for advice and tips. But this gives you guys and myself as hosts one more resource that is much more human. And it's just someone like me in my area that knows my struggles and, our advantages, because, maybe a host in Portland has different advantages and struggles as a host in New York and Texas. So a localized host that you can talk to, get advice, go through your listing, and really share and learn from. And number two, we want to grow the Swimply host community locally. We saw amazing organic growth when it came to the host community nationwide on the Facebook group, and then also locally with meetups and with local Facebook groups, and just people becoming friends. And we want to really tap into that and grow that in the coming year with this program. So what to look forward to in the ProHost program? A local experienced top host who you can connect with, grab a coffee, go over your listing to see how you can improve it and maximize earnings with. Again, someone local, someone that is a host just like yourself and can help you on your journey to becoming a successful Swimply host. Special local webinars and Q&A sessions with your ProHost. We can have these big webinars, which are awesome. I love doing these. But, there is something awesome about, taking this down to 5, 10, 15 hosts and going through all the new updates together, talking through it, really, once it comes out, going through the app, learning it, talking about what we like, what we don't like about it. So that's also look forward to. In-person meetups at your ProHost pool. We did a ton of these successfully last year and even 2 years ago, and want to keep doing these in-person meetups. They are awesome for just getting to know your local Swimply hosts, creating those connections, creating friendships, and learning from each other. And a single voice to vouch for local host communities directly to Swimply leaderships. These ProHosts, part of what being a ProHost is, along with the responsibilities and that stuff of helping hosts, is we're having monthly and quarterly calls with Swimply leadership to go over their learnings of what they hear. Because as you can see from some of these features, host feedback is super important, if not the most important thing for us as a company. And sometimes hearing it from 5,000 people can get a little bit noisy, but hearing it from one host who I've spoken to the 100 hosts in my area, and for Austin, Texas, we really need this, or we really love this, or we would love to see this. So giving you guys that voice through your ProHost of what we can change as Swimply leadership. So here's a quick look. I'm not going to go through all these. These are a quick look at some of our current ProHosts. We have Alex and Natalie in LA, Marcel in DMV, Krill and Joey in Austin, Rob and Lisa in Portland, Sean and Chantal Riverside, Rochelle and Jeff, Megan, Serena, Rick, Larry. So Michael, sorry, excuse me. But yeah, so as you can see, these are our ProHosts. The goal is to have a local ProHost in our top 30 markets to start, and then I want to blow this up to every single community in America will have a ProHost. So many more to come. These are just some of our current ProHosts that I am currently working on building this program with. I'm super excited. So just wanted to share who we have so far. And like I said, I want to expand this to the top 30 markets and beyond. So if you think you'd be a good fit to be a Swimply ProHost and help us build and launch the program, please email katie@swimply.com. So if you feel like you know how to be an awesome host, you're a successful host, and you love helping people, you love Swimply, and you just want to share your success with local hosts that maybe need a little help, or maybe they're new hosts and they just need some help, please email katie@swimply.com and we'll chat. That is actually the end of the presentation. So we can go into we'll go through the questions in the chat and we'll go into open session Q&A.
Sure. So Yona, I made note of a few questions that were asked in the chat. The first one is, will the earning reports be retroactive to the beginning of our hosting or just once the new app comes out on a going forward basis?
That is a awesome question. I'm pretty sure it's going to be retroactive because we store all that data. I'm not promising, so don't hold me to it if it doesn't end up being that way, but I'm pretty sure the plan is it will show you all your earnings, all that data we have. So we'll just kind of put it up in there.
Gotcha. Second, can you send the swimmers a message in the fans feature without sending them a coupon?
Right now, you have to send them a coupon. And the idea is that we don't want to just spam swimmers with messages. We want there to be some kind of incentive. A huge part about creating, marketing is, timing and incentive. And we want them to have that incentive. And the coupons can be as low as 10%. So it really is, an easy, small incentive to really push people over the edge.
Great. Many of our hosts say they're having problems with swimmers updating their listings and then wondering if hosts will be able to start editing, bookings, if hosts will be able to start editing the bookings on their end anytime soon.
I think that's more a swimmer education thing that we're working on. The tricky part of that is you can't really give hosts the ability to edit the bookings because then, maybe swimmers didn't actually agree to that in their booking. They didn't want to extend their hours. Then you just get into the he said, she said side of things. If they make the change, we know they did it, but 100% agreed. Host education, that's again, mostly where I spend my time, but swimmer education is super important and also something we're working on to educate the swimmers as well.
Wonderful. And let's see. Lastly, what is the number one driver for the search? So is it the number one, or is it the number of 5-star reviews, the lowest price? And secondary to that also are the 5-mile radius still being used for the search?
Gotcha. Yeah. So those things mentioned, that person has some, experience with the search algorithm because both of those were drivers of different tests in the search algorithm. How it's going to be moving forward, it's not necessarily going to be one thing. It's going to be weighted averages of so many things that our data tells us increase bookings. The idea is to show swimmers what they want to see. On a very simple level, the pool with the highest conversion within certain distance will matter. It's not going to be as strong as it was before. It was like bucketed. Like you will first see all the pools within 5 miles, no matter how quote unquote bad or good those pools are. You will see those. Now it's going to play a part, but it won't be as strong lined, the distance. That being said, again, the goal is to show swimmers a pool they want to book. The goal is to raise conversion. And the main ways we see that is by past conversion rates and engagement with those pools. Now, what drives conversion and engagement to a pool? It's photos, it's pricing, it's, response rate. It's obviously accepting bookings, not canceling bookings, because all those will detract on your conversion and engagement. And it's not set in stone anywhere because, I spoke to many hosts that say in my neighborhood, people don't care about price. They care more about photos or amenities. And that's totally fine. And in that neighborhood, since we'll see based on all the engagement in that area, if your pool is getting higher engagement, even if you have a higher price or maybe whatever it is, it's going to be based off of that engagement and conversion. So what we know from our data drives that is obviously the price, the photos, cancellation, responses, acceptance, all that. That's what drives it, but it can be different depending on small little areas and reasons. Maybe if a pool has a waterfront property in it somewhere where people are very interested in waterfront, maybe that pool will get high conversion and engagement, even if maybe they don't have the best photos and they don't have the best pricing, but the other pools will catch up, and then distance will play a factor as well, just not as strong lined as it used to be.
Is there now insurance for hosts in Canada that is equivalent to what is offered in the US?
Yeah, I believe so. I think that was always the case. I mean, I'll have to, check the FAQ, double check that, but I'm pretty sure Canada has had insurance for a while now. I don't think that's an issue.
Those were all the ones I gathered previously, and there are some coming in as well.
Got it. Yeah. So we'll start, if everyone can start raising hands, we'll try to start. I just see one, like, what do you consider a conversion? Conversion will be a swimmer swimming at your pool. So, between the request, the acceptance, and them actually ending up in your pool is going to be what like a real conversion is. So like if they cancel or you cancel, the conversion will be based on that. But we can actually open the floor if anyone has any questions of any of these features. If you could just raise your hand and we'll start going through this. Oh, I see Dana raising her hand. I think there's a Zoom tool where you can raise your hand, but I happen to see you in your screen. I think you're muted though.
Yeah, I have a question.
Sure.
I have a pool with a hot and a hot tub, and so I kind of advertise like, because I have a water view, so I do all that in the summer, like the fishing, the hot tub, and the pool. But in the winter, and like when it gets colder, I do live in Florida, but when it gets really, really cold and it's just like almost impossible to heat the pool because it's too cold, I do get some requests for hot tubs. And I know they have a thing where you can, charge separate for the hot tub, but whenever I do try to change that and do that, I get a lot of negative feedback. Do you have any suggestions like for when it's cold, just to rent the hot tub and pricing?
Yeah, so I mean, what we've seen some hosts do in the past is actually create a separate listing,
Oh,
and actually just create a new listing. So take the summer listing and you can put it off season. You can set the dates, like let's say when it gets too cold, and then you can create a new listing, which is hot tub and fishing listing, or whatever it may be. So we've seen some hosts do that, and then
that's a great
obviously,
idea.
yeah, taking pricing into account there, like. If let's say, just an example, you charge $50 for the pool and the hot tub, and during the summer, for just a hot tub, you want to, take that into account and lower that price. But that's what I've seen some hosts do, and people have seen success there.
Oh, great. Thank you so much. That's helpful.
Sure. Awesome. Sheila, I see you raise your hand. Hey.
How are you guys coming on the Swimply spaces?
Yeah, absolutely. I think the beginning of the question might have been cut out, but I assume the question was just how far along, what's the plan there? Was that the question?
Yeah,
How's it coming?
How's it coming? Because I'm
Gotcha.
excited for that to be.
Awesome. Do you have a space?
I do. So my pool is indoor.
Oh,
and
awesome.
so it's been great. This winter's been great. Storming and everything else here in Minnesota. But so yeah, I have a 2,000 square foot room. And so I have like table spaces and meeting spaces and can do birthdays and baby showers. And I have, the outdoor space. And so I'm excited to be involved in the Swimply spaces as well.
Awesome. Yeah. First of all, that's awesome. Yeah. Indoor pools in the winter, definitely, especially in cold places. You said you're in Minnesota?
Yeah.
Oh, wow. So yeah, definitely a luxury. So that's awesome. As for the spaces, so what we're working on right now, and kind of this isn't even, we haven't like done an official PR launch yet, but we are working on launching. I think the goal is in April time. And specifically, we want to launch spaces in like that relate to sport courts. So we're focused on tennis, pickleball, and basketball to start. So those are like the main three that we're focused on, just because spaces, the final vision of spaces can be home theaters, kitchens, art studios, indoor place for baby showers, like it's almost endless. So the goal is to kind of focus a little bit, launch those, see how those do, get some learnings, and move from there. That being said, we have some spaces up that we are running as like test spaces, and like it's very like one-to-one. Some kind of we do test, some we don't. The idea is if it's like an awesome, like blow your mind space that has great pictures and is priced really well, then we'll use it as a test just for future. So if you can reach out to, I would say reach out to Tyler at swimply.com. Tell him about your space. You can tell him we chatted,
Okay.
and see if you can list your spaces, just a test. Because I'll tell you right now, we are focused on tennis, pickleball,
Okay.
and basketball. But we do, if for an awesome space that looks great, we're always down to test.
And then my space, because it's indoor, I heat the room to 88, and that's 20-foot ceilings in there. So it takes like 8 to 10 hours to heat it up to 88. I just had to raise it because it's like, oh my gosh, it's winter and it's 30 below and heating this room, right? I'm at 69 an hour right now. It's like I'm having a good run, and it's like I don't want to stop it. But on the other hand, I'm one of 2 in Minnesota that has an indoor pool, and so I don't know, because I just started in September. So do I raise it for the winter, and then how am I going to compete in the summer because I'm indoor? I don't know. I haven't had that work. I haven't had that figured out yet.
100%. And that's always the hard part that we've seen indoor pools have, because, when you don't have any competition or market, then it's hard to find that market rate. When there is a market, it's like, okay, this pool is similar to mine, he's charging this, he's successful here. It's like, okay, where do I price myself? And it really comes down to trial and error. And like you said, like you raised it to 69, you want to see, okay, are my bookings slowing down? Are they not? Am I overwhelmed? Am I obviously, turning a profit based on your expenses? And that's where like a lot of this data helps, that you obviously have to kind of take that into account. That being said, yeah, obviously in the summer, there will be more competition. So, then maybe you'll see, oh, I need to lower my rate, or I need to this or that. Winter is definitely prime time for indoor pools. And finding your golden rate can sometimes be a little tough when there is no market. But it's a good problem to have, I would say.
Yeah, and I didn't know if you had experienced that and knew what a golden number was.
It really depends on the area. That's why I can't tell you it like really depends pool to pool, area to area. So like it really is a trial and error thing.
Thanks.
Awesome. Thanks so much, Sheila. Greg.
Hey, James, can you hear me?
Yes, I can. What's up?
Okay. Hey, thanks. So question regarding search. Will swimmers have the ability to filter their search if they're looking for something that either has a lot of reviews and a lot of track history, as well as, for example, 5-star reviews, or is it as before?
Absolutely. I know there will be filters like there are now. Now, I think, I guess you mean like will they be able to rank? Like, there's filters and rank. Like, let's say I want to see pools that have X amount of reviews. I know there will be filters, and I know we're working on those filters. I can double check to see if, maybe, I'm one of those filters can be 10 plus 5-star reviews. That could be actually a really cool filter to have. So I'll pass on the message. I know we are working on filters, and we definitely will have filters like pools with a hot tub, or pools with, that allow more than 10 guests, basic filters. But I love that idea, and I will definitely pass that along to maybe have that added as a filter.
Awesome. Great. Thanks. Hey, one other question.
Sure.
I think there are probably a lot of hosts like me who have like a 2-hour or more minimum. Will the update to the app allow hosts to sort of, check a box, if you will, or say that they require 2 or 3 or whatever it is hours minimum?
I don't know. It's not in this release.
Okay.
I may have, I saw something about that in one of our product roadmaps, the very first level. So I don't know if that's actually on the roadmap, whether or not that will be put in. For right now, it's not in this release. So that much.
Gotcha. Okay, thanks.
Sure. Thank you for joining. Shelly.
Hi. Yeah, I am new. I started toward the end of the season last year in Austin, Texas. But my question is kind of tied on to Sheila's about spaces. So mine is like one of the largest above ground pools with the kitchen and outdoor bathroom, but it's on 1 acre that's totally fenced in. I have had questions about like overnight camping. So would that be part of the Swimply spaces, or how would I tie that into pool rental?
That is an awesome question. Yeah. So again, when it comes to spaces, like it's almost limitless of where we can take this. Um, you know, this even takes it further of past the hourly rental to an overnight rental. Again, right now we're trying to narrowly focus as much as possible on courts and, paddle, racket, and ball. And so that's kind of where we're focused on. Large backyards in general for events and stuff are definitely like there is a conversation about that. And then, taking that even a step further for overnight rentals is obviously a step further than that. But it's not in the first launch of spaces, but definitely a really cool idea. And again, for these kind of test cases, you can always list your space and it will automatically join the waitlisted for when we do launch these spaces. So if anyone does have an awesome space, go on the site, you can list your space. Even if it doesn't go live, it will go live as soon as we launch that category. So it definitely is good to launch. And also you can always reach out to, again, Tyler at Swimply with any space questions and, chat with him about that.
Okay, so in the meantime, how would you recommend I handle that if I did want to allow someone, so like my close off time is like 9 o'clock at night for the pool, but I do have an outdoor bathroom. If they bring their camping supplies, how would I charge for that?
What I would recommend for right now is creating an amenity, a premium amenity for overnight camping, and charge a flat fee for that. If you want to overnight camp, it's, $50 or $100, bring your own tent, or maybe if you see it taking off, you say, hey, I supply the tent, I supply everything you need, and here and you can select as a premium. That would be the workaround I would tell you to do right now.
Awesome. That's great advice. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Shelly. All right, Linda.
When will the calendar become live, the new calendar?
Unfortunately, I don't have exact dates on these, but the idea is definitely before the summer. So ideally in the next month or two. I will try to, when I get these exact dates, try to share it with you guys. Maybe over email we'll have some updates there. But all these things that I'm sharing were like what's on the roadmap, like coming soon to be released next. So it's all definitely before the summer and like in the next month or two.
Okay. And then the other question I had was, I had been thinking actually since last year about starting another listing just for the spa, like you suggested earlier, but then we'll have no reviews, right?
Mm-hmm.
So there's no way to kind of connect the two.
We did create, we were doing a push around this and we actually created a way to do this, to attach listings, which will drag reviews. So you can reach out to me, james@swimply.com, and maybe I can help you out with that. We can see you kind of create the listing and I like link them on the back end and it connects them. The other side of that is just changing your listing for the winter months, like just having a set of photos that you have for the summer, having a set of photos for the winter, change the title, change the description, change the price. That's kind of a little bit easier way to do it. If not, you can set it up, connect with me, and I know we had a function and we may have like got rid of it because we weren't using it that much. It wasn't great, but I may be able to help you there.
Yeah, because occasionally I do have someone, I do give them the option of paying to have the pool heated if they want to do that. But I did want to do something where I just had a lower price one that's just the spa,
Gotcha. And also, I do want to, sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off, but it is 4:30. So for the people that do need to leave, I just wanted to say thank you so much for joining. I can stay on a little bit. Ariana, I'm not sure if you're able to stay on, but I'll be on for a few more minutes. Well, thank you, Linda, for your question, and thank you everyone that needs to jump for joining. As always, we would be nothing without you guys, and always appreciative of you guys as our Swimply hosts. All right, cool. So Linda, were there any other questions? Sorry.
No, I think that was it.
Awesome. All right. Thanks so much. And thanks for joining. Danny, I see, is raising his hand.
Yeah, hi. Basically, I noticed that when people have been booking by me, for some reason, like they still message me, they say, where do you live? What's your address? So like, I don't know, is it like automatic they see your address right away after they book, or is it something that like it's not as clear because I never hosted myself, so I don't know like the process and how
Yeah.
to get your address, and
Mhm.
I don't necessarily always want to have to be sharing my address.
Absolutely, absolutely. So the way it works, and again, this is like a swimmer education thing. The way it works is as soon as they pay, they get your address. That's how it works, and they get it 100%. If it's listed on your account, they receive it. They receive it in their app. They receive it via email. They get your address. That being
Hold on,
said,
let me close this.
there is a lot of times swimmer education. You know, sometimes as hosts we do this a lot, and as a swimmer maybe they're just coming on and using it once, so sometimes there is that education, but you can tell them they have it in their app, they receive an email about it, they definitely get your address. So they do receive that.
All right.
Also
All right, thanks so much.
thank you. Also, I want to jump in. I just see in the chat question about tax. Yeah, from a legal standpoint, I see Greg wrote, you always have to, it's all taxable income. Everyone should be doing their taxes. And you should speak to your accountant about that. The question that I see people talking about is whether or not Swimply sends a 1099 to you. So there was a law that was supposed to be put in place, which it was 20,000 and they were lowering it to 600. And that's for Swimply, it's for PayPal, it's for Zelle, it's for a lot of different platforms. And Swimply was in that group. I do believe, like someone mentioned, I did see on the news that they pushed it off like last week. Literally, they pushed it off. I saw. I haven't confirmed with Stripe that means that we will not be sending. I assume that would be my assumption. But again, the main idea is you always have to report your taxes, speak to your accountant about it. However, the question is just whether or not Swimply and Stripe will be required to send you a 1099. All right, let's it looks like Jennifer is the last person raising their hand.
Hi, thanks for answering my question. I was just wondering about adding amenities with the new tiered pricing.
It will be the same. I'm not sure exactly the question, but if you want to add an amenity, it will act the same way. You would add, an amenity and either charge per hour or flat rate on top of the price they pay for the pool.
Great, thank you for, one more question. What about playgrounds? If we have playground equipment out there, is that included in the insurance and can they use that as well?
I don't want to speak out of line. I know you can look and maybe we can link it in the chat, Ariana, if you could just link the FAQ about that. I feel like it's not, but it might be. So just if you look at the FAQ, it will go through and that will give you more of a clear picture of what's covered and what's not.
Great, thank you for your help.
Thank you, Jennifer. Thanks for joining.